Welcome back to Tutoring 56. This is the first video about science experiments and science activities that have to relate with pine cones because it's that time of the year. And unless you get a whole bunch of inches of snow, you should still be able to get out and get the pine cones for the rest of November and even into December, which will make for some really nice Christmassy kind of crafty activities that the kids can take home. So this first video, as I mentioned in the sort of attached video, intro video, is about the kindergarten level kind of things where we introduce the students to what's out there. Let's go explore Mother Nature and see what we can find. And as I've said, I design these based on age groups that go with kindergarten, primary, which is grades 1, 2, and 3, so 6, 7, and 8, and then junior, which is grades 4, 5, and 6, and last but not least, the 7s and 8s, my intermediates. So please take this, especially if you're a homeschooler, as a guideline, right? You know your kids, I don't, so take it with a grain of salt. Just take it as a guideline. So as my example last time when I was doing the intro was an acquaintance of mine was a forest ranger in the mountains of British Columbia. So the things that my students down here in Southern Ontario would see and do and not understand or understand is not the same as his students in the mountains of British Columbia, because he did have to homeschool his kids. He hadn't really have a choice since the closest community was a 3-hour drive. So what they would experience and what they would see is a whole lot different than what my students in Southern Ontario would see, or any basic large urban area where the kids just don't get out in the bush. So I'm reading notes at the same time. Let's see if I can make this. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is take your students for a walk. Just take them out for a walk. Hopefully your school, or if you're homeschooler close by, where you can go find coniferous trees, anything that doesn't lose its leaves in the fall. Yes, I know tamaracks lose their needles, but the stereotypical Christmas tree kind of tree. And you want to get them going down on the ground, looking for all those pine cones and all those things that fall from the tree. And as you got these 4 and 5-year-olds, get them to look up, to say, okay, well, we found them down here. Where did we find them? And see if they can, in pairs or triplets, look up and find pine cones that are still attached to the tree. And are they finding the pine cones on the lower branches, or are they finding them way, way up high? And see if they can make the observations. We're talking 4 and 5-year-olds, and I'm only aiming with these first experiments that they're getting to see where the pine cones are coming from. Where are they coming from? And then what you want to do is make sure that every little person has a bag that they can carry the stuff with. Now, my recommendation, if you are with school, pull the parents in. The parents of kindergarten students, especially if it's their first little kid, they love, generally speaking, to get involved. So get them out there. Get them going out into the schoolyard or the neighboring bush to find the pine cones. With that in mind, ask your parents to go for a little treasure hunt beforehand and bring in as many pine cones as they can, because they're going to do some sorting with this, which I'm going to show you later on my floor. And the more they've got, the better, because you may go with your class to an area that doesn't have a whole lot of pine cones. So taking them someplace where they can find only a few, and then getting back and only having a few, is disheartening for little people. So have moms, dads, whoever, bring in as many as you can. And of course, you as a classroom teacher, make sure you're bringing in lots and lots and lots. Do not go to your local dollar store and buy them. Reason being, most of those pine cones have had fragrances added to them because they're aimed for crafty things. And you may have students who are allergic, or fellow colleagues who react to the fragrances that are added in the pine cones. So you want to go au naturel, period. All right. Outside the fact they're absolutely expensive, buying it at a dollar store. So, okay. So that's really what you want to do. That's the first step. And so they're going to spend one afternoon or one period going out and picking up all these pine cones and having a really good time. And then the next day or the next period, we're going to get down and we're going to sort it, and we're going to look at things and say, come up with adjectives. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Is it sticky? Is it not sticky? Or some longer, some shorter? Just, you can come up with a whole list of adjectives verbally that just help describe it. You're not going to honestly say it's an adjective, but boys and girls come up with words that describe the pine cones. Okay, so you're introducing grammar, you're introducing adjectives without the kids even knowing it, and then they're getting the touchy-feely and all the rest of it. So now we're going to take this and we're going to take it down to the floor, and I'm going to show you what I mean when I say sort. I think you really honestly know what I mean, but let's just do the actions so you can see what's going on here. Okay, so here we are down on my floor, and check to make sure this focuses in. So you can see that I've gone out my back. There we go. I have a whole box of a variety of pine cones. So literally, and like I'm saying, this is not something I'm taking with genius, but I just wanted to be able to give you the visual too. I'm also going to recommend putting paper towel, not paper towels, newspaper down so it's easier to clean, especially if you have a nice fancy house or a classroom. You like to keep if you're a classroom teacher, you want to keep your custodial crew happy with you. Okay, so we just take them out and spread them out and try and get the students themselves to sort. Now, I still have more than tons and tons. I like my fall walks. Okay, and then you need to look at them and get them to say what are things that are similar, what are things that are different. So you may have some students who will literally compare by size. They may not notice that the different parts of the pine cone have a different shape. Other students may notice that they have different sizes. You may obviously see that there is different sizes here. Okay? If they get really looking carefully, they may, I'm going to hopefully get it up high, that you will notice that some of these have been eaten because the little guys have got close. So what you want to do is pour them all out. If you have a full-size classroom, split your class into groups. If you have a TA that can help you, or parents, like I said, parents and kindergarten teachers love to help. Okay, get them to sort it. But mine is have them guided. Don't tell them how it is. We want them to investigate and check mathematically into classifying. So with this little pile that I have here, I have some that I can sort by they're completely opened. I can have them sorted by the ones that are completely closed. I can have them sort by different sizes, etc. You can, which ones are dry, which ones are still wet. You have a variety of ways that you can sort this. So get them just to sort them whichever way they want. Have them touch it and feel it. You will have students go, "Ew, God, that's gross." That's their problem. Well, yeah, that's their problem. Get them to check. You may find that they go, "Ooh, that's yucky," and just have to explain to them that that's sap that's come out of the tree, out of the pine cone, and it's nothing. It's just the sap that goes through the veins of the tree that keeps getting the water up to the top of the tree. All right, I was going to say blood, but that might not go well with kindergarten students. Okay, so that's all you want to do. Just spread them out, let them touch them, feel them, compare them. That's it, grand total. You've done the first part of the experiment. So first part was go out and have fun. Second part is sort them and put them into different groups. Then the next step, the scaffolding or connecting it to the rest of it, as us teachers perpetually have to do, is have them draw a picture of their favorite pine cones. Have them create little monsters or little pictures on the ground using their pine cones. Lots of ways to get this to go. All right. Then have them sort it the way they want. They've decided as a group to sort it and put it off someplace safe so they can finish drying out. and then you can use it for crafts later. Also, the next day, at the same time, let's remember 4 and 5 year olds, generally speaking, have very short attention spans. They like to move a lot. Is that they can take it the next day and start pulling these apart and see if they can find out what's inside it. They may not clue into that they are seeds, but it's just the fun of pulling things apart and seeing what it is, what's inside. Okay, there you go. I am going to warn you, as I'm doing this right now, ooh, look what I just found, a piece of it, is you'll end up with bugs. That's a general. I mean, we'll get some students go, yeah, especially in schools in southern Ontario or big urban areas where they're not really used to seeing buggies. They may get a little thingy, so upset with seeing the bugs. So there you go. That's the first one. As you can see, there's them on the pine cones, part of them. That's it. Nice and easy. But like I said, make sure you have lots of extras. And I'm going to give you if you look at some of these are very closed up. You can see where my toe is touching one. It's very closed up. When you're going to get the 4 and 5 year olds to rip them apart, try and make sure you've got one that's already opened up like my toe is touching now, because it's easier for them to pull it apart. Some 4 and 5 year olds get very frustrated very easily. They believe they should be able to do it, just like the big kids. And they haven't finished grasping that because they're only 4 and 5, it takes more time for them to do stuff. So they get really frustrated quite easily. And it's only because, especially if they have older siblings, I can vouch for this, because your older siblings can do it, it's difficult to understand why you can't do it. You might be multiple years younger, but when you're only 4 and 5, that's a really hard thing to comprehend. Okay, so that's nice, easy activities for the kindergarten students to do. And they can have lots of fun. Moms and or dads and etc. can get involved.